COVID-19 has definitely forced a lot of us to take a pause in life and change how we operate, but it has not stopped progress for some people. We want to bring in Dan Shiller. He's a graduate student over at Oakland University. Dan, thanks for being with us on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit more. How has school been for you throughout this pandemic? Let's start off there.
School has definitely been extremely different. Uh, for me, being in music, school is very much a hands-on thing, and having to be in person is really helpful. And going online, though it has presented some challenges, we have risen above it and have kind of proceeded to still have school.
So with that too, Dan, when we talk about people studying music, art, and theater, it's like you said, it's so hands-on, but even more so like music and dance too, you wonder, it's hard to do that via Zoom sometimes.
It's incredibly hard, incredibly frustrating, but we have that passion. So even with the stay-at-home orders or anything like that, we just have to do it.
So with that, tell us more about what you're studying.
So at Oakland University, I'm pursuing a master's in world percussion performance. And what that basically entails is I'm approaching music from a world perspective. So I'm not only studying classical, European music. I'm not just studying American jazz. I'm also studying music of the African diaspora throughout the Caribbean. I've studied West African music, as well as a little bit of some Asian traditions.
What made you so interested in this?
A fascination of culture and history, and seeing how that translates into art is really fascinating. Not to mention just seeing how different music can be from one country to another. Cuba is not even 100 miles off the coast of the United States, and the music traditions are just severely different. And that's just incredible. But they're also very similar. And that's also interesting.
So even in the middle of the pandemic, though, you just found out you've been accepted into a very prestigious program. Tell us more about that.
So the Mark Morris Dance Accompanist Training Program is a week-long program in Brooklyn, New York, where I get to go and study how to accompany dance classes as a musician with the Mark Morris Dance Company, which is a prestigious dance company in New York City.
So with that, we're talking with Dan Shiller. He's a graduate student at Oakland University. And with that, Dan, we do know New York is starting to reopen as well. Is this going to be in person?
Yes, it's going to be in person.
Going to be a little strange for you in the beginning, though?
Oh yeah, I the last time I was in New York City was pre-pandemic, so going to New York City kind of in this transition period back into normalcy is going to be interesting to say the least.
So what was the application process like?
So I went online and just clicked the link to apply, filled out an application, sent in a resume. I think I might have sent in a demo video of me playing, and that was it. I heard back a week later saying I was accepted.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Were you jumping up and down for joy?
That's an understatement, yeah.
So with that, Dan, what do you hope to get out of attending this program?
Professional insight into this uh, profession of dance accompanying. Throughout all of my college years, all of my professors have told me that this is a great, as an artist, it's often hard to find lucrative work, good work, but this is really something that a lot of percussionists find themselves doing, especially in their early years of their career. And that's what I'm hoping to gain from it, as well as look into the actual art of writing music for dancers and that kind of cross collaboration between disciplines.
Dan Schiller with us here on the MegaCast. And Dan, I have to ask you, at some point in time throughout the past year, did you kind of get pause and wonder about your future opportunities with the pandemic? Because we know it's hit the industry especially hard.
Yes, I have thought long and hard about that. Uh, Going into this pandemic, and it's just seeing a lot of professionals and people I look up to just stop working and kind of fearing for the future has made me kind of question some of what I do. But it goes back to that passion of I don't want to be doing anything else besides this. So despite a pandemic, despite everything, I'm going to be making music as my life. And that's what's getting me through this, is just I can't do anything else. I have to do this.
So with that, Dan, too, when you're talking about making music, we've all become somewhat experts at Zoom, but when you're talking about music, equipment plays such a big role
Hmm.
in how your music sounds. What's it been like for you over the past year?
A lot of experimentation, trying different microphones, trying different audio interfaces, trying different placements of the microphone, having things break, having to basically bodge things back together in a moment's notice. Or my favorite thing is right before a rehearsal or a class, all of a sudden the microphone's not working or my internet cuts out. It's just that gets frustrating, but again, we overcome. We adapt, overcome.
Yeah, I will say, before when some of these technical glitches would freak us out, now it's like, it's the pandemic, or it's happened to all of us at least a few times over the past year. But are you rehearsing in person yet at all?
Yes. I actually have a rehearsal tomorrow evening with a percussion quartet I'm putting together for my recital next year.
And what was it like the first time you guys actually got together in person again?
I had to hold back the tears, to be honest. Before we started in the fall, we started in person doing stuff outside, and that was just overwhelming. But then when we had to go back into lockdown and come back out of it again around March and back in person rehearsals, it's a little overwhelming sometimes, just kind of being like, it's been a year, and I can now hang around people again without really feeling, uh, what's the word, like unsafe.
Hmm.
And then once I'm starting, like I've started at Oakland. This is my first year at Oakland, and I haven't seen most of the people that I work with their full face in person, and that's gonna be a weird feeling when that finally happens. It's actually
Yeah,
like see people's faces.
right. So with that, Dan, are you from the area?
I am not. I am from Northeast Ohio.
Oh, so this has been quite the transition.
Yes, I also moved states in the middle of this pandemic, which was an experience to say the least, but it was completely doable and I managed it.
Dan Shiller with us here on the MegaCast. He's a graduate student over at Oakland University, and he was recently just found out that he was accepted into the Mark Morris Dance Accompaniment program out of New York City. And I understand you're going to do a performance for us.
I can, yes. I have my Geo with me right next to me, and I have another camera set up, so I could easily do that if
Okay,
you would like.
explain to us. You have a what with you? What exactly is that?
So a Geo is an African xylophone, and it's Ghanaian in origin. And I studied abroad in Ghana a few years ago, around 2017, and fell in love with the instrument. Bought one as soon as I could, and this is my personal instrument. So yeah, it's used in a lot of cultural contexts in Dogra culture, uh, Lobi culture, Sisala culture, and those are just different ethnic groups around Ghana and Burkina Faso.
What was it like to go abroad?
Scary. It was my first time leaving the country, and I went by myself. So it was scary, and going to a country where their official language is English, but a lot of people don't speak it, is intimidating. But I'm, managed it. Kind of just had to push through because that's what I needed to do. It's what I wanted to do.
There you go. You become stronger because of it, and a little bit hard because Google Translate, when you go to some of these other country, not as accessible as you would like, right?
And the language they speak isn't on Google Translate, I believe. So I can't even use it really.
Oh, well, if you can, go ahead and give us a quick performance, Dan, if you would.
Okay.
that sounds amazing.
Thank you.
So tell us again, how long did it take you to practice and learn that?
Give me 1 second. So it took me, well, I'm still practicing and learning it, but I started learning the instrument around 2016, went to Ghana in 2017, and it's taken me about that long to get some of those songs and learn that.
What's your favorite instrument to play?
Uh, oh, that's hard. That is really hard. I really enjoy playing the geol, obviously, but I also really enjoy the conga drum. That's
And
probably the top two instruments.
so I will say, Dan Shiller with us here on the MegaCast. He's a graduate student over at Oakland University. And so how many different instruments can you play, Dan?
Oh, I would say I can play pretty much most of the what is called for in like a orchestral setting. So marimba, xylophone, snare drum, timpani, as well as I can play drum set. I can play congas, bongo, timbales, geol, and cowbell, shaker, all that.
So what's it been like to try to practice some of those instruments in the middle of a shutdown? How are your neighbors?
My neighbors up in Michigan have been just great. They haven't knocked on my door, haven't done anything like that. But my neighbors back in Ohio, I would often get texts or phone calls being stop. I mean, what? I'm practicing at midnight. Come on, I have to do this.
Exactly. You can't get better without practice, right?
Right.
Dan, well, we still wish you the best of luck and thank you for the performance. Anything maybe you want to say before we let you go? What advice do you give to other people?
Uh, it's be passionate, be curious. Be passionate and be curious. Those are the two keys to success in my life. Has been passion and curiosity. Is what can I do and how can I do it?
That is such great advice, whether you're a musician or anything else that you're attempting to do in life. We wish you the best of luck. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Hey, when do you leave for New York?
I leave at the end of June.
Oh, well, safe travels and have a good time while you're there.
Thank you.
Dan Shiller with us here on the MegaCast. He's a graduate student at Oakland University.